हेलो, आवाज आ रहा है ना सर? आवाज उधर क्लियर है?
जैन आहे ना, असेच दिसणार पण थोडेफार.
Good morning, one and all. So today's topic is presumptive taxation, 44 AD, ADA, disallowances, and all those things. So before starting the presentation, I would like to thank Suhas sir, who has taken again the initiative for starting the training session, learning session, because I think everyone is busy in their routine work. We don't get the time to, we don't get time ourselves to keep updated with the various nuances of income tax, be it GST, ROC, accounting, and all those things. So basically, I would like to thank Suhas sir and entire team for taking this initiative once again, and we are here. So let's learn out of it. I would try to keep practical as much as possible rather than going sections, what section says about 44 AD, ADA, and other disallowances and all those things. Practically, where we can apply our knowledge on in day-to-day our routine work. So we'll try to see how to compute the income, what are the allowances, disallowances, what is covered in 44 AD, not covered in 44 AD, and all those things. So let's start. So to brief you about presumptive taxation 44 AD ADA, basically let's start with 44 AD. It's a presumptive scheme which is applicable in normal terminology. We can say that it can apply to all the small business owners who cannot opt for maintenance of books of accounts, get their books of accounts audited, and they are functioning on a very low scale or very minuscule scale. So again, 44 AD, there is a turnover criteria, there is a threshold criteria, and you have to opt for you have to declare certain percentage as your income. Then only department will give you window to opt for 44 AD. So let's see what are the criteria. So any business having a turnover of less than 3 crore, again 3 crore and 2 crore, I'll explain you. 3 crore, 2 crore can opt for presumptive taxation. So this 3 crore has been amended in last 23 budget only. So it says that your entire receipts, 95% of receipts should be in other than cash mode. I mean to say it should be into a banking channel online mode. Then only you can enroll in this 3 crore scheme. Otherwise, you will not be eligible for this 3 crore wala scheme. You will be gone to into 2 crore scheme. So basically, for applicability of 3 crore, we need to check that 95% of our receipts turnover should be in online mode. Then only we will eligible for this. Otherwise, 2 crore limit will be applicable. This 2 crore limit is constant. It has not been revised. So once we computed our turnover, कि turnover मालूम पड़ेगा कितना है, then what to do? So you have to declare 8% or 6%. Again समझो अपना turnover 2 करोड़ है, तो turnover 2 करोड़ का क्या करना है? So if our turnover is on online mode या तो through an banking channel, then you can declare your profit at a rate of 6% as well. Other than banking channels, you have to declare at least 8% of your profit to go for presumptive taxation scheme. In some simple terms, मेरा टर्नओवर 1.5 करोड़ है, 1.5 करोड़ में से समझो फॉर एग्जांपल 1 करोड़ is on banking channels, I can go for 6%. 50 lakh is other than banking channel, I can go for 8%. So during the computation, during preparing, at the time of preparing the computation of income, even though we are maintaining the tally or we are preparing the bank summary and all those things, we need to make sure that if we are going for 6%, then onus is on us to prove that we are eligible for 6% criteria. Because at the end of the day, if there might be an assessment from the department, then they might invoke 8% wala criteria rather than 6%. So 6% is on us to prove that we are eligible for 6%. And again, for 6%, I have covered in further slide that we need to check that, for example, as on 31st March 24, our turnover is 1.5 crores and 50 lakh is in cash. So there is no evaluation of 6%. Again, for 1 crore, which we are saying that it is on account pay check, it's on digital transaction, but we should make ourselves aware that it should be received on or before the due date of filing the return. ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि हमें, for example, the due date is July and we are receiving the remaining amount in the month of August or September, then certainly you will not be eligible for 6% because there's a condition in the section that it should be received before the due date of filing the return. So for 6% criteria, we should get the amount before the due date of filing return. Again, there are certain businesses which are specifically excluded from the presumptive taxation scheme, such as simple a common hai, we professionals are excluded from opting for presumptive taxation scheme. Again, at a time we come across lots of situations where clients TDS is deducted under section 194H commission वाला जो 26 years में दिखता है. Certainly you cannot opt for 44AD. अगर हम लोग ले भी लेते हैं तो there might be chances that at the time of processing the return, department will declare or they will throw out the notice under section 139 defective return करेगा, or they will ask us to submit the balance sheet and all those things. So we need to make sure that if our clients have earned commission income, then we cannot opt for 44AD. You have to prepare the books of accounts and all those things. Again, for a life insurance agent and all those things, in act it is stated that agency business. Again, business of running of playing, hiring, leasing of goods, it is covered in 44AD, so they have excluded from it. Apart from this 3 to 4 type of a business, we can show any business over here, even though a person dealing in, lots of our clients are dealing in FNO and all those things. So you might have come across a situation that whether they can offer 44AD or not. Certainly they can offer 44AD subject to condition of declaring the profit and all those things. But we need to evaluate whether they have generated the profit, whether their turnover is sufficient to declare, because at a time if you are dealing in FNO, your turnover will be a huge. So we need to make sure that whether client can pay 6% or 8% if you declare that particular threshold. So again, eligible SSEs. So again, one more thing that it is for 44AD, it is applicable to only resident individual. If your client is non-resident, you cannot opt for 44AD. Resident HUF, partnership firm not being an LLP. Again, for a partnership firm, you can opt for 44AD. It is not applicable to LLP. And SSC, those who are not claiming the SEZ linked deductions and 80HS to 80 RRB, which is income based deduction and all those things. So if you are not claiming any deduction under this section, then certainly you can offer for presumptive taxation scheme. Who all are not covered? वहां पे जितने थे कवर हो गए, उसके अलावा जो भी बच गया, HUF is a non-resident individual, non-resident AOP, VOI, जो हम लोग ने इवन आर इंटरमीडिएट IPCC PCC इंटरमीडिएट में पढ़ा रहेगा, पर्संस का डेफिनेशन, इंडिविजुअल, HUF, AOP, VOI, LLP, कंपनीज, आर्टिफिशियल जुडिशियल पर्सन, पर्सन क्लेमिंग अ डिडक्शन अंडर section 10A and all those things. So these are the broader list, those who are not eligible under section 44AD. So even though ये अपने for academic purpose है, even income tax utility will not allowed, because अगर हम लोग ने ले भी लिया at the time of filing return, portal will not accept a return. आप कोई LLP का ट्राई करके देख लेना चाहिए. तो पोर्टल और विनमैन, we are using the विनमैन भी अलाउ नहीं करेगा, पोर्टल भी अलाउ नहीं करेगा. So this is for our academic purpose that these are the persons those who cannot offer 44AD. So now the next question is कि हम लोग ने 44AD का threshold जान लिया, 2 crore, 3 crore profit percentage we have learned. So how to compute the turnover? Again, computation of turnover is not defined anywhere in Income Tax Act. You can take a guidance from various judicial precedent and our Institute Guidance Note on Tax Audit. So there are various judgments which stated that GST, sales tax, excise duty and all those things. Say for example, हमारे क्लाइंट का टर्नओवर होता है 80 लाख रुपीस एक्सक्लूडिंग जीएसटी विद जीएसटी इट गोस अप टू 1 cr or 2 cr whatever can we offer 44 AD or not this can be a question posted by client to us. So certainly at the time of calculating the turnover we need to exclude the GST, whatever sales tax, excise duty or any other and again reduced by discount, sales return, all those things. मतलब in nutshell आपका pure turnover excluding your statutory dues, GST and all those things वो आपको compute करना है. And special occasion if you have sold any fixed asset, so whether that amount will form a part of your turnover or not, again it will not form a part of your turnover. आपने कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी वगैरह सेल किया, अगेन दैट विल नॉट बी काउंटेड इन द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट ऑफ 2 crores or 3 crore whatever. So calculating the limit is again it is very important to us because हम लोग उसमें क्या इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं क्या एक्सक्लूड कर रहे हैं to derive the 44 AD because at a time again we need to prepare a working or if we are maintaining the tally then in our office we are doing an accounting exclusive method only. That means we are not including GST in our turnover. So it's a well-defined, stated practice accepted by the various courts that GST and all those things will not be included in the turnover. Limit of turnover we have discussed 2 crore, 3 crore. Again, one more thing that in case of an SSE who is having a multiple business, say for example मेरा FNO में भी है, मेरा ट्रेडिंग का भी बिजनेस है, बहुत सारे बिजनेस है. Again the limit will be classified by summation of all your eligible businesses. So if your all the eligible businesses threshold comes under 2 and 3 then only you can opt for 44 AD, otherwise you will be out of that 44 AD. So दो तीन चीजें और हैं, लेट मी चेक आगे है. हाँ ठीक है. So before starting this, at a time if you are opting for 44 AD in case of a partnership firm, then I guess everyone is aware that we will not get a deduction of interest and remuneration to the partners. Earlier it was allowed way back in AY 16-17, it was allowed 16-17-17-18, but now onwards from AY 17-18 onwards they have not allowed, or certainly we can say that we will not get any benefit of interest remuneration. जो आपने 8 या 6% कैलकुलेट कर लिया, entire deductions whatever deduction it's there in section 28 से लेके आपके 43B तक के section 40 तक के deductions and all those things will be covered. In nutshell, certainly you will not get a benefit of interest paid to the partner or remuneration, और आप बोलोगे कि during the business we have a fixed asset, तो depreciation का भी benefit मिलेगा क्या 8% में, तो वो सब it's a deemed that by calculating or by opting rate of 8%, department will tell कि आपको ये सब benefit मिल गया है. Even disallowances will not come into picture, like आपने TDS नहीं डिडक्ट किया, आपने कैश पेमेंट किया for 10,000 और जो 20,000 का लिमिट है 10,000 वाला, basically it will be deemed that everything is allowed. So opting 44 AD is quite easier for the client, but at the end we need to have a working or we need to maintain the books of accounts. See section बोलता है कि नहीं books of accounts maintain करेंगे तो भी चलेगा, but our practical experience says that at the time of assessment proceeding department will ask, बोलेगा profit and loss नहीं है तो आप statement of accounts या तो आप statement of affairs बना के दो to establish him that you have declared whatever profit you have declared, whether it is in accordance with 44 AD or whatever you have declared it matches with your books of accounts or not. So my advice would be we are maintaining the books of accounts even though we are declaring profit under section 44 AD, because at a time bankers are also asking the balance sheet and all those things. So it is advisable to maintain the books in tally, but it is not applicable or it is not required to be filed. There are certain options that say for example जो भी टैक्स वगैरह में काम करते हैं यहाँ पे वहाँ पे they might aware that कि if I declare a profit under section 44AD, then also in ITR form I need to declare 3 to 4 values. वो कहाँ से हम लोग लाएंगे अगर मैं बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट से मेंटेन नहीं कर रहा हूँ? डिपार्टमेंट बोलता है वी रिक्वायर्ड आउटस्टैंडिंग एज ऑन 31st मार्च, सन्ड्री डेटर का आउटस्टैंडिंग चाहिए, इन्वेंट्री का आउटस्टैंडिंग चाहिए, क्रेडिटर्स का आउटस्टैंडिंग चाहिए, कैश एंड बैंक बैलेंस चाहिए. If you are not maintaining your books of accounts, then I don't know how you will ascertain these figures and all. Apart from this, there are various other fields, unsecured loan and all those things. If you refer ITR form, वहाँ पे सब कुछ दिया हुआ है, but कंपलसरी ये 4 ऑप्शंस ही है. तो ये 4 ऑप्शंस आपको अमाउंट्स वहाँ पे मेंशन करने के लिए you should have some backup or some books of accounts prepared. Then only you can put these amounts. So मोटा मोटी 44AD के ऊपर ये था. Again, there's one technical aspect to 44AD. If you have any doubt at till now, you can certainly ask. Otherwise, we will proceed further.
So in that ITR, the practice that we do.
See,
Do we maintain books or do we just?
No, sir. We are maintaining the books of accounts. Even though client is opting for 44AD, at a time bankers are asking the balance sheet and all those things. So bankers को CA certified balance sheet वगैरह चाहिए. So ideally our practice is we are maintaining the books of accounts because वो जो 4 amount आप डालोगे वहाँ पे at the time of assessment department will ask कि आपने डाला किधर से. You cannot tell them कि यार मैंने randomly डाल दिया. You should have some. See, they cannot ask for balance sheet and profit and loss account, but directly or indirectly they will ask for statement of affairs. So how you will draw statement of affairs? So in some or other way, we need to have a details from which we can take these 4 values, because ये 4 वैल्यू ही कंपलसरी. आप आईटीआर फॉर्म देखोगे तो पूरा बैलेंस शीट के जितने भी लाइन आइटम है सब कुछ दिया हुआ है. Bonus lies on
I put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Bonus is lies on us to prove that it is 0 or it is whatever amount we are putting. So जो भी amount आप डाल रहे हो आपके books of accounts में से वो match होना चाहिए, because at the time of assessment we need to demonstrate before the department that how we computed this amount. So again, from a technical point of view, in section 44AD, there is a change from AY 17-18. वो change ऐसा है कि if you opt for 44AD in 1 year, आपको 5 साल तक वो रूट में जाना पड़ेगा. अगर आप say for example वो रूट ब्रेक कर देते हो, say we have covered example ahead. आपने say for example AY 2021 में 44AD लिया, then you have to declare the profit under section 44AD in next 5 years. अगर आप वो next 5 years में 44AD में प्रॉफिट नहीं दिखाते हो and you are out of that 44AD zone, then again SSA will be thrown to a tax audit. He needs to prepare the books of accounts, get them audited. So again, whether to take 44AD or not, it's an criteria which we need to evaluate, because आप every year वो change नहीं कर सकते हो. पहले चलता था, अभी आप एक साल में 44AD लिया, next year में आप बोलते हो 44AD नहीं लेना, मैं normal में जाता हूँ, फिर आप next 5 साल तक 44AD नहीं ले सकते हो, because in ITR form as well जिन्होंने practically देखा रहेगा, it asks year in which you have opted 44AD first. आपको year डालना पड़ता है कि कब आपने लिया, then till when the criteria of 5 years will be applicable. So again, it's a very important criteria. If you are, जब भी हम लोग computation बनाते, we are making sure that कि last year जो income था, whether it commensurate with the current year's computation of income or not. So अगर आपके client के केस में last year आपने 44AD लिया था, ये बार नहीं ले रहे हो, तो you need to be very make sure that अगले next 5 साल में फिर वो he cannot offer 44AD. अगर उसने फिर FX में loss कर दिया, or he don't want to get the books of accounts audited, then he don't have any choice. Then he need to maintain the books of accounts, get them audited and all those things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is mandatory to write. Yes, yes. Otherwise, return लेगा नहीं, वो error दिखाएगा. हाँ. कैसा होगा ना सर, आपने say for example we are filing the return for AY 24-25. अब ये लॉ आया था 17-18 में, 5 साल खत्म हो गए. अगेन ये साल पूछता है कि आपने अगर 44AD लिया है कब से लिया है, आपका ब्लैंकेट पीरियड 5 साल वाला कब तक है, बराबर, ये साल आपने डाला। नेक्स्ट ईयर में अगर आप ऑप्ट आउट करते हो तो पूछेगा कि अभी आप 44 एडी नेक्स्ट 5 साल तक नहीं ले सकते हो। आपने फाइल भी कर दिया तो डिपार्टमेंट जब एट द टाइम ऑफ प्रोसेसिंग द रिटर्न they will declared as a invalid return and they will ask us to file the audit report. So वो एक in simple terms खाली एक चीज ध्यान में रखना है, लास्ट ईयर जो डिक्लेयर किया था whether it is commensurate with the current year declaration or not. If not, then we need to make sure that हम लोग 44 AD में जाएंगे नहीं, और जाते हैं बिजनेस इनकम है, then client has to do the audit. वो एक क्राइटेरिया हर एक क्लाइंट में ध्यान रखना है अपने को कि लास्ट ईयर का प्रैक्टिस क्या है वीजा विज करंट ईयर का प्रैक्टिस क्या है, वॉयलेशन है तो नेक्स्ट 5 साल का क्या है वो भी क्लाइंट को बता देना है कि सर लास्ट ईयर में आपने 44 एडी लिया था, ये साल आप नहीं ले रहे हो, तो अगले 5 साल में इसका बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा। अगेन इट इज टेक्निकल बट वी नीड टू एडुकेट टू द क्लाइंट। अगर आपने फाइल कर दिया रिटर्न, सिस्टम ने एनीवे आपने गलत डिक्लेयर कर दिया, वो फील्ड पे ले तो लेगा, लेकिन सीपीसी एट द टाइम ऑफ प्रोसेसिंग द रिटर्न 100% डिफेक्ट निकालेगा उसमें। इसका एग्जांपल हम लोग देखते हैं आगे कि कैसे क्या कवर होगा। Again, it is nutshell what we have understood in presumptive taxation income. Your 8% दिखाना है, you have to pay the tax on that. Digital transaction 6%, and other than 8%, you don't have to maintain the accounting records. You don't have to get your accounting record audited. Advance tax है तो आप फोर्थ इंस्टॉलमेंट में पूरा पे कर सकते हो, एवरी क्वार्टर पे करने का जरूरत नहीं है। If you're opting for 44 before 31st March भी पे करोगे, then also it will work. जो हम लोग ने अभी वो एग्जांपल, वो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड कंडीशन पढ़ा ना, वो हमने ये एग्जांपल में डाल के ट्राई के एक्सप्लेन करना। An SSC eligible SSC claim to be taxed on a presumptive basis under section 44AD for assessment year 24-25 on offer income of 4 lakh on turnover of 50 lakh. So in EY 24-25 जो अभी हम लोग रिटर्न्स कर रहे हैं उसमें हमने बोला है 4 लाख का प्रॉफिट रखेंगे और 50 लाख का टर्नओवर है which is 8%, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। For assessment year 25-26 we are also on the same page with whatever section 44AD says that. So however in assessment year 27-28 all of a sudden our income goes to 6 lakh rupees in the turnover of 1.5 crore, so 8% nahi raha. In this case, since SSC has not offered income in accordance with section 44AD, अब हमने 24-25 में लिया था, 25-26 में भी लिया, 26-27 में भी लिया, 27-28 में हमारा इनकम is less than what is stated in 44AD, 6 लाख दिखा रहे हैं 1.5 के टर्नओवर पे। In this case, since we have not offered income in accordance with the provision of section 44AD for 5 consecutive assessment year after assessment year 24-25, that means जो हमने बोला था 24-25 is the first year, तो वो 24-25 से 5 साल तक 44AD में इनकम दिखाना है, हमने नहीं दिखाया, then in that case क्या होगा, he will not be eligible to claim the benefit of 44AD for the next 5 assessment year. मतलब वो साल में तो हमने नहीं दिखाया, मतलब we are out of 44AD, हमने ऑडिट किया रहेगा। Then next 5 साल में we cannot claim a benefit of 44AD for next 5 assessment year. That means from next year onwards, AY 28-29 till AY 32-33, next 5 साल तक आप 44AD में नहीं आ सकते हो बात। Then you have to compulsory get your books of accounts audited. ये एक बहुत important criteria whenever you are filing returns under section 44AD. I hope ये example सबको clear है। X an individual carrying on 3 eligible businesses. Turnover is as under business A, business B, business C. Whether he can opt for 44AD benefit. आपका turnover criteria, because turnover exceed 3 crore, you cannot certainly offer 44AD. आपका turnover 3 करोड़ के ऊपर है, आप 44AD नहीं कर सकते हो। You have to maintain regular books of accounts, declare income, what is there as per your regular books of accounts and all. So वहां पे फिर 8% 6% का क्राइटेरिया कोई मायने नहीं रखता, जो भी आपका प्रॉफिट है as per your books of accounts, you have to declare that.
इसमें अगर एक बिजनेस में वो पार्टनर रहा तो
सर अगर ये इंडिविजुअल, यहाँ पे इंडिविजुअल का ही रहेगा, पार्टनर है तो वो कंडीशन नहीं, बिकॉज एज एन पार्टनर ऑफ अ पार्टनरशिप firm I cannot show my remuneration under section 44AD.
So the firm will be treated as a different
Firm
entity.
will be treated as altogether different entity. I am getting a remuneration from my partnership firm and I have two business. तो मैं मेरा वो वहाँ पे 44AD में नहीं लेके जा सकता. ABC Enterprises have a gross receipt of 2.5 crore for financial year and do not maintain books of accounts. ABC Enterprises have opted for presumptive taxation. During the year, ABC Enterprises received 1.4 crore through non-digital transaction, that is in cash, and 1.1 crore through a digital transaction. What will be the income under these heads? कोई बता सकता है क्या होगा? आंसर तो देख लिया रहेगा सब लोग ने. Sorry.
6% on digital.
थोड़ा जोर से बोल, सबको सुनाई देगा.
6% on digital and 8% on cash payments.
So what Gaurav is saying that 6% on digital and 8% on cash. Anyone having a different view? अभी गौरव फॉर एग्जांपल 6% ऑन डिजिटल जो तू बोल रहा है, अगर इफ आई हैव नॉट रिसीव्ड द पेमेंट और बाय 31st जुलाई, और या तो तेरे को 30th अगस्त को पैसा मिल रहा है, देन आल्सो यू कैन ऑप्ट फॉर 6% वाला.
नहीं, then 8%.
सबको समझा? तो 44AD का कॉन्सेप्ट उतना ही था. I try to keep as much as simple as possible because ऐसे तो 44AD में बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस है, बट जितना हमें प्रैक्टिकली यूज होता है ऑफिस में, मैंने उतना ही लिमिटेड रखा था. बिकॉज दैट 44AD सेक्शन 44AD सबसेक्शन 4 वाला क्राइटेरिया वाज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट क्राइटेरिया. दूसरा तो क्राइटेरिया सब हम लोग ने इंटरमीडिएट वगैरह में ऑफिस में पढ़ते हैं, तो हमने सब सुना रहेगा, पढ़ा रहेगा. So again, section 44ADA is for the professional having a gross receipt up to 75 lakhs. So a professional having a gross revenue of up to 75 lakh rupees. Again, there is a change in this threshold from 50 to 75 in Finance Act 2023. But with the caveat that कि आप 75 lakh का threshold कब use कर सकते हो? Whenever your 95% of your receipts should be in digital mode or through an banking channels and all those things, then only you can opt for 75 lakh wala limit. Otherwise you will be opting in you will be gone through in 50 lakh wala turnover criteria. A professional having a gross revenue up to 75 lakh, if 95% of the receipt are through an online mode, 50 lakh if less than 95% rahega, can offer presumptive taxation scheme where he has to offer 50% of your taxable income as a profit, and then he can pay the taxes and all those things. Again, same as like in 44AD, there is no requirement to maintain the books of accounts. If you are declaring a profit less than 50%, then it is compulsory for you to get your books of accounts audited. And again, if your person is carrying, in again 44, there are specified person who can declare their income under section 44 ADA, which is as per section 44 AA में जो professionals का list दिया हुआ है. We will see, say for example, CA, doctors, lawyers, advocate, engineers, company secretaries, IT professional, actors, and all those things. Certainly, they can only opt for 44AD. There is an exhaustive list given in the section 44 AA professionals ka. Only they can opt for 44ADA. Again, 44AD, yeah, legal, medical, engineering, architect, profession of accountancy, technical consultancy, interior decoration, any other profession as notified by the board in the official gazette. They have notified some profession of AR, film artist, actor, cameraman, director, profession of company secretary, profession of information technologies, and all those things. So these are the people who can opt under section 44 ADA. Mr. X is a practicing doctor and has annual income of 50 lakh in a financial year. Actual expenses incurred by Mr. X for running his practice amounts to 5 lakh rupees. taxability, whatever. ठीक है. So before answering this question, see again 44 AD, we as we discussed ki it is at our discretion we are maintaining the books of accounts. कि say for example we are declaring 8%, 10%, 15% कैसे लाया. Again in 44 ADA it is always advisable, even though you are declaring profit of 50%, 55, 60%, whatever, how you have computed this amount. आप straight away 50 lakh का 50% ही ले सकते. ठीक है, आपने ले लिया, but there should be a supporting working in back end. Why I am telling is, if you read section, plain section, then section says that you have to declare profit at a rate of 50% or such higher amount as may be prescribed, such higher amount as may be computed. So in normal general practice, we are aware or we taught in books की 50 lakh का 50%, 25 lakh ले लिया, उसके ऊपर टैक्स भर दिया, खत्म. But again from a practical point of view, आपका say for example you are getting a professional fees of 4 lakh rupees per month, आपका 12 months का whatever, say for example 48 lakh हो जाता है, and certainly you are eligible for 44 ADA, but आपके बैंक में कोई डेबिट ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं है, या तो वेरी मिनिमम डेबिट ट्रांजैक्शन है. से फॉर एग्जांपल 4 लाख रुपए आपको महीने का आ रहा है, 2 लाख रुपए आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, 2 लाख रुपए अगेन आपने कोई पर्सनल खर्चा किया. सी certainly आप 44 ADA में जा सकते हो, but at a time department can ask your bank statement, because they cannot ask the books of accounts and all those things, but certainly bank statement मंगवा के they can also compute the income. वहां पे मैंने दिखाया 48 lakh is my income, 50% ऑफर किया, 24 lakh is my net chargeable to taxable income. So again in that case there might be a different view from the department that कि आपने यार 50% तो ऑफर कर दिया, but whereas your actual income is more than 50 lakh rupees or more than 50%. So there might be a difference over there. So it is always advisable to prepare the books, check what is the percentage in our books of accounts, and it should be matches with their books of accounts as well. We need to educate to the client that कि ऐसा है, because आप सबको हमको ये मालूम है कि 50% दिखाना है, खत्म बात. बट आप अगर सेक्शन थोड़ा डिटेल में रीड करते हो 44 AD ADA, वहां पे वो जो वर्ड दिया है, इट कैन प्ले अ रोल एट अ टाइम. देखते बहुत कम जन है, बट अ स्मार्ट ऑफिसर कैन क्वेश्चन दिस थिंग कि आपने आपका प्रॉफिट ज्यादा है बट यू आर ऑफरिंग लेस देन 50% और 50%, आई एम सॉरी. सो इन दैट केस इट इज एडवाइजेबल टू प्रिपेयर द बुक्स, एक्सपेंसेस जो भी है उसके डिडक्शन दो, एंड जो परसेंटेज आएगा बेटर है वो ऑफर करो, कि डू अ टैक्स प्लानिंग विद योर क्लाइंट, so that at least we are commensurate with whatever profit we are offering. जैसे अभी ये एग्जांपल में हमने बताया इनकम इज 50 लाख रुपीस, प्रिजम्पटिव में 50% ऑफर करना है, एंड माय टैक्सेबल इनकम इज 25 लाख रुपीस. अगर मैं प्रिजम्पटिव में नहीं जाता था तो मुझे 50 का 5 लाख इज माय एक्सपेंसेस, 45 लाख रुपीस इज चार्जेबल टैक्स. सी देयर इज अ वास्ट डिफरेंस. 45 से सीधा 25 में आ गया. तो डिपार्टमेंट कोई भी आपको 20 लाख का बेनिफिट स्ट्रेट अवे 30% टैक्स रेट है, कोई देगा नहीं. And there are very less chances for the assessment, but it is advisable to prepare the P&L, get the taxable income matches with the P&L, and then only we can offer. किसी को कोई डाउट है? बिकॉज ये हम लोग बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली यूज करते हैं सब क्लाइंट्स में. अगर आप यूज कर रहे हो तो क्लाइंट को एटलीस्ट बोल दो कि जो 50 दिखा रहे हैं ठीक है, बट देयर कैन बी अ डिफरेंट व्यू फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट अगर कुछ असेसमेंट आया तो. और वो भी बोल देना चांसेस आर फॉर द असेसमेंट आर वेरी लेस, बट यू नेवर नो कि ये चीज अब चीजें ऐसा है कि डिपार्टमेंट ने भी कभी इतना डिटेल में सोचा नहीं, बिकॉज दे डोंट वांट टू हरास द नॉर्मल और स्मॉल टैक्स पेयर. 44 एडीए जो ऑप्ट करते हैं डिपार्टमेंट की भाषा में, दे आर वेरी छोटा पीपल. वी डोंट वांट टू क्वेश्चन द स्मॉल पीपल एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो प्रैक्टिकली अभी तक कुछ ऐसा डिपार्टमेंट के एंड से आया नहीं है, बट सर्टेनली एट द टाइम ऑफ असेसमेंट ऑफिसर लोग पूछते हैं. Therefore, it is evident that he can save the taxes in presumptive taxation scheme. 44 AE again, I guess बहुत very लेस यूज्ड इन आवर ऑफिस, तो बहुत कम क्लाइंट्स होंगे और आई थिंक फ्रॉम एन नॉर्मल पर्सपेक्टिव इट इज वेरी लेस यूज्ड सेक्शन 44AE. अगेन इट इज फॉर द transporter and all those things. 44AE is a presumptive taxation scheme. Again there are condition कि कौन opt कर सकता है, कौन opt नहीं कर सकता. It is applicable to, again it is applicable to all the SSC. As like 44AD और ADA में individual HUF partnership firm LLP को entry नहीं है, but 44AE में it is applicable to all the individual and any other entity whose business of playing, hiring, leasing of goods carriage. खाली कंडीशन है they should not have more than 10 goods carriage vehicle at any time during the financial year to be eligible for presumptive taxation. Against this means that it is applicable for a person who are running business with very limited vehicles. Again they have given some amount which needs to be offered. अगर आपका there are category heavy goods vehicle है, other than heavy goods vehicle है. Heavy goods vehicle में again they have stated the what do you mean by the term heavy goods vehicle. So they have told that gross vehicle weight exceed 12,000 kgs, then in that case you have to offer an income of 1,000 per ton of gross vehicle weight for every month or part of the month during which heavy vehicle is owned by the taxpayer. Again heavy vehicle other than heavy vehicle है तो 7,500 per month or part of the month multiplied by number of vehicle you have owned. For example, Bharat Bhai owns a 7 goods carriage vehicle, then is this is other than heavy goods vehicle, then unka income 7,500 into 7 and multiplied by 12 months. So very less used section, but it is there in the statute. Certainly, if your clients are eligible, then you can check. Oh, sorry. Again, if a person is owning less than 10 vehicle, then certainly we understood that section 194C जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वाला है वहां पे हम लोग सब क्लाइंट से डिक्लेरेशन लेते हैं कि आपके पास लेस देन 10 लॉरीज है ना, then we will not deduct a TDS and all those things. Then in that case TDS भी उनका डिडक्ट नहीं होगा. And again with respect to making payment in cash, again there is an exemption for them कि अगर उनका the exception is that payment is made through a check or demand draft drawn to this is transporter incur heavy expense on ongoing journey. Maximum amount for them is 35,000 and not 20,000. जो हमने cash payment वाला देखा इनकम टैक्स में वो है कैश पेमेंट कितना करना चाहिए. तो फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन हु आर ऑप्टिंग फॉर दिस स्कीम और हु आर इनटू दिस बिजनेस उनके लिए 35,000 वाला कैश पेमेंट का क्राइटेरिया है. So this was that what I wanted to share with respect to 44AD, ADA and AE. If anyone has any doubts or any clarification.
Question, we had that rule of 5 years in AD, वो ADA में नहीं है?
नहीं सर, yes, ADA में नहीं है वो रूल. Good question. And again 44ADA एक साल अगर आप देखोगे ना तो LLP को भी डिपार्टमेंट ने अलाउ कर लिया था, but then thereafterwards law में भी 44ADA में initially जब वो section आया था LLP नहीं लिखा था, but then in 1 year LLP has also filed the return under section 44ADA. Then they realized कि there is a discrimination with respect to 44ADA and ADA. Then उन लोग ने ब्रैकेट में डाला other than LLP. एक और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है 44ADA का 75 लाख का लिमिट और विद रिस्पेक्ट टू टैक्स ऑडिट. किसी को ध्यान में है क्या वो क्या है? आई मीन टू से दैट जो 75 लाख का लिमिट है फॉर अ प्रोफेशनल हु कैन ऑफर 44AD एंड फॉर अ प्रोफेशनल at what is the threshold for tax audit? 50 lakh, but 44ADA में तो 75 बोला है, तो मैं क्यों ऑडिट करूं? सबको क्वेश्चन समझा गया? So again ये एक चीज उनसे रह गया है कि they have amended section 44ADA वहाँ जहाँ पे they have told that कि certainly you can opt for 44ADA if you are having a turnover or gross receipt or professional receipt till 75 lakh. But if you read section 44AA which is the main for the purpose of audit, वहाँ पे आप भी read करोगे, it stated that for a professional the limit for tax audit is 50 lakh only. So certainly it is missed from government and certainly एक दो साल में उसका भी changes आएगा, they will revise that limit to 75 lakh. But at present, if you satisfy the criteria of 44 ADA of 75 lakh, 95% more than 95% of the amount is through digital transaction or banking channel, you can go for 44 ADA. There is no requirement for audit. So ये थोड़े कुछ हम लोग ने प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई किए which we are coming how much time है okay ठीक है क्या है which we are getting on day to day basis client का होता है या तो फिर हम लोग जब भी काम करते हैं तो हमें प्रॉब्लम आता है. So problem statement is carrying on business not opting for 44 AD, not opting for presumptive taxation scheme. हमने प्रॉब्लम छोटा रखा है, सिंपल है. अगर मेरा say for example I am in a business of anything for example and I am not opting for 44 AD वाला presumptive, then in that case my turnover for tax audit will be total sales turnover gross receipt. अगर 10 करोड़ के ऊपर जाएगा तो ही मैं टैक्स ऑडिट में आऊंगा, नहीं तो टैक्स ऑडिट का जरूरत नहीं है. I can declare a profit under normal net profit as per P&L वाला scheme में, and there is no requirement to declare profit 6% or 8% and all those things. Carrying on business eligible for presumptive taxation scheme, again जो हम लोग ने पढ़ा 44 ADA का violation है तो audit करना पड़ेगा. Third, carrying on business eligible presumptive taxation scheme under section 44 AD. If we are opting for presumptive taxation scheme, then we need to declare the profit at the rate specified or such higher rate. Again, condition 4 is with respect to turnover 3 crore 2 crore, we need to evaluate कि हमारा 3 crore है तो whether we are satisfying the criteria of 95% or not. This is the summary type of a thing. Again, in case of loss, ये बहुत बार हम लोग को समझता है, in case of a loss from carrying on a business and not opting for presumptive taxation scheme, तो बहुत टाइम हम लोग बोलते हैं कि बिजनेस लॉस हुआ तो ऑडिट करने का कि नहीं करने का. स्ट्रेट आंसर होता है कि ऑडिट कर दो. बट on plain reading of the law, if you have not violated section 44 AD any time, then there is no requirement for audit. अगर आपका टर्नओवर 10 करोड़ के अंदर है और आपने बिजनेस में लॉस किया है, 44 AD आपने आज तक कभी ऑप्ट नहीं किया है, then there is no requirement to audit. In earlier days होता था before AY 1718, but once the law has been changed after 1718, even though I have incurred loss in F&O फर्स्ट ईयर, मैंने जिंदगी में कभी बिजनेस इनकम दिखाया ही नहीं है, स्ट्रेट अवे आंसर कि आप ऑडिट नहीं करोगे तो भी चलेगा. बट देयर आर वेरियस व्यूज दैट कि ऑडिट करना चाहिए, बट प्रैक्टिकली आप पूछोगे फ्रॉम एन लॉ पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, ऑडिट नहीं करेंगे तो भी चलेगा. If a taxpayer's total income exceeds the threshold limit and he has incurred a loss, वो हमने भी डिस्कस किया. Carrying on business opting for presumptive taxation scheme under section 44 AD and having a business loss with the income below the basic exemption limit. Again, it's a very important criteria. If you read section 44 AD, read with 44 AD, थोड़ा confusing है लेकिन simple है. अगर आपका business loss हो रहा है and if your income is below the taxable limit और आपने 44 AD का violation भी किया लेकिन your income is below the taxable limit, then also audit will not be applicable. Carrying on business loss, ठीक है, ये इतना important नहीं है. Again, with respect to 44 ADA, carrying on profession 75. खाली एक ही चीज आपको ध्यान में रखना है जो मैंने लास्ट में बताया था, फर्स्ट ईयर है लॉस का कि पहले 44 AD वायलेशन हुआ है, then in that particular case we need to carefully evaluate whether audit will be applicable or not. अब ये दिख रहा है क्या सबको? थोड़ा बहुत ये हो गया है, सॉरी. इसको बड़ा कर सकते क्या अमन? ये दिख रहा है, ये विजिबल है,
ये दिख रहा है
दिख रहा है ना अभी?
पीछे
नहीं वो और नहीं, वो वैसे ही हुआ है। वो फिर है ना, एक मिनट, होल्ड ऑन एक सेकेंड। क्या बोल रहा है? दिख रहा है ना अभी? नहीं हो रहा एक्चुअली, वो हर्षित ने ट्राई किया।
बिना स्लाइड शो के बराबर
यहाँ से करेगा। हाँ
करेक्ट, और बहुत ऊपर चला गया। नाउ यू कैन स्टार्ट।
हाँ ठीक है। सो ये एक फ्लो चार्ट में वी ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन 44 AD double A. So if you read this, is resident SSE is engaged in the profession referred to in 44 double A, थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करने में ये होगा, एक सेकेंड। होल्ड ऑन, else it's a normal chart only, आप लोग बैक एंड पे देख लेना, नहीं रहेगा तो, बिकॉज ये होल्ड ऑन, नॉर्मल स्लाइड शो ही कर दीजिए वापस। ये पीपीटी है सबके पास, ये खाली 44 AD, खाली उसका एक फ्लो चार्ट में एक्सप्लेन किया है। आई गेस मोर और लेस सिमिलर जो हमने पहले डिस्कस किया वही है उसमें, बट इन अ वन पेजर अगर हमको किसी को समझना रहेगा तो। सो मैं जस्ट ओरली बोल देता हूँ, इज रेसिडेंट एसएससी इज एंगेज्ड इन सेक्शन, एंगेज इन अ प्रोफेशन रेफर्ड टू इन सेक्शन 44 डबल ए, जो प्रोफेशनल है, अगर आपका यस जा रहा है, is the nature of activity such that a professional is a passive entrepreneur in relation to the services? Yes, no. अगर in a nutshell 44 डबल ए के प्रोफेशनल एक्टिविटी में कवर है तो 44 एडीए में जा सकता है, नहीं है तो नॉर्मल में भी जा सकता है। आई मीन टू से दैट कि 44 डबल ए वाले प्रोफेशनल लिस्ट में सेटिस्फाइड है, he can certainly go for 44 ADA. Else, he can show income under section 44 AD. But at a time, there are chances from CPC that अगर आपका TDS 194J में deduct हुआ है and you have shown an income under section 44 AD, then CPC at a time बोलता है कि since TDS has been deducted under section 44 under section 194J, but you have declared income under section 44 AD. So we have come across a situation where department has come up with the defective notices. Again, no hai, is the SSC carrying on any agency business or earning a commission brokerage? Is the SSC carrying on any agency business, commission brokerage? No. Yes है, तो here SSC cannot avail scheme of section 44 AD. This is what we have discussed. Is SSC is an eligible SSC? अगर eligible SSC है तो again you can go for 44 AD. No, you cannot go for 44 AD. Then we need to that condition which we have discussed, breaching of 5 years ka criteria. If you have disqualified that criteria, you cannot avail 44 AD. If you have not disqualified, then you can opt for 44 AD. And then at last, whether your business is eligible business, is the business carried on by the SSC is eligible business? If business is eligible, certainly you can go for 44 AD. So in nutshell, whether to evaluate whether 44 AD में जा सकते हैं कि नहीं जा सकते हैं, और whether 44 AD is applicable. This is the just a diagram. एक मिनट, सब हो गया हमारा। Yes sir, please.
So let's say I am coming back to 4480A, जहाँ पे आपने बोला था कि 50% दिखाना जरूरी नहीं है। I mean we can show a profit higher than 60% or 50% if required.
हाँ,
right? तो यहाँ पे practice क्या होता है? Tell you, a 15-20 lakh professional
बराबर
will
है।
always put 50% and end it up. It is not advisable for this professional to also maintain book of account. क्या ही करेंगे 15-20 लाख में. तो इसमें बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस क्या होगा? मैं क्लाइंट को क्या बोलूं कि क्या मेंटेन करें जिससे हम आगे जाके जस्टिफाई कर सकें, क्योंकि असेसमेंट 3 साल बाद आनी है.
See, in my opinion, मुझे लगता है if client is not ready to maintain the books and all those things, see certainly we can opt and we can declare income at a rate of 50% because देखो इंटेंशन डिपार्टमेंट का इंटेंशन छोटे एसएससी को परेशान करना नहीं है, ठीक है. आप 50% दिखा दोगे, चांसेस फॉर असेसमेंट आर लेस देन 1%. बट अगर आपको क्लाइंट को बोलोगे कि आपको बुक्स मेंटेन करना है, आपको एक्सपेंसेस इवैल्यूएट करना है, आपका 70 हो रहा है, 60 हो रहा है, आई गेस तो क्लाइंट बोलेगा छोड़ दो, मैं और किधर करवा देता हूँ. दिस इज व्हाट प्रैक्टिकली वी कम अक्रॉस फ्रॉम द क्लाइंट्स. तो सर्टेनली दिस इज द व्यू, बट we have not come across any position from the department और कोई judgment नहीं है कि they have taken a higher amount, but at the time of assessment officers are questioning. So in my opinion, if possible, prepare the books, otherwise 50% दिखा दो, chances are for the verification are very minuscule. To answer 50% चल जाएगा, लेकिन अगेन अमाउंट बड़ा है, 75 लाख 50 लाख, इट ऑल डिपेंड अपॉन, कभी कभी अमाउंट टू अमाउंट भी वेरी करता है. छोटा मोटा अमाउंट है 10-15 लाख, nobody will going to answer, nobody will going to question you. But again amount is big, then I would suggest कि it is always educate our client कि this is what section says and we are doing in this fashion so that we can stand our position during the assessment or if any query comes. So again, next part is very general part, disallowances under Income Tax Act, because the topic given to me was 44 AD, ADA and disallowances under income tax. So disallowances वैसे तो बहुत सारे सेक्शन है, but हम लोग ने जो रेगुलर डे टू डे है हम लोग को यूज होता है, we have taken that section only. So I will not read entire content and all. So say for example, if you have made any payments, say for example if we have made a payment for purchase of goods, our turnover is less than 10 crore and 50 सामने वाले का सामने वाले का 50 लाख, हमने उससे परचेज किया है more than 50 lakhs, then in that case we are aware that we need to deduct the TDS on purchase of goods or collect TCS on sale of goods, because at a time it is very important this criteria has for TDS on purchase of goods and all those things, it is introduced in last 1 or 2 years only. So since this is the right time, we are in the month of May and June, just evaluate your client's turnover. Say for example कोई client का turnover in financial year 23-24 10 करोड़ से क्रॉस हो गया है, इसके पहले 10 करोड़ था ही नहीं, इन 23-24 ही क्रॉस हुआ है. अब उसको तो किसी ने बताया है नहीं TDS on purchase of goods करके भी कोई कॉन्सेप्ट होता है, तो उसने पूरे साल तक विदाउट पे चल गया वो. So in that case it would be very difficult. Reason is being कि again TDS on purchase of goods percentage is 0.1%, but the disallowances is straight away 30%. So किसी ने परचेजेस किया रहेगा वो पर्टिकुलर वेंडर से, 1 करोड़ का भी परचेज रहेगा, उसका आप 0.1% निकाल लो और स्ट्रेट अवे 30% निकालो, अमाउंट बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है. एंड अगेन he can be declared as a SSC in default. बड़ा अमाउंट है तो डिपार्टमेंट कैन इनिशिएट अ प्रोसिक्यूशन. वी हैव कम अक्रॉस अ सिचुएशन वेयर अमाउंट वाज इन 40 crore 50 crores, then department can launch a prosecution as well. So हम एक चीज ध्यान में रखना है with respect to this criteria कि TDS on purchase of goods से आपका लास्ट ईयर का टर्नओवर if more than 10 crore, then we need to educate to the client that कि TDS on purchase of goods वाला criteria भी applicable है. You can take a declaration from the vendor कि उसका टर्नओवर 10 करोड़ के ऊपर है कि नहीं and all those things. Again with respect to disallowances, आपने कोई interest, royalty, fees for technical services, resident, non-resident को pay कर रहे हो, we need to make sure that TDS is deducted. Again, non-deduction of TDS can take us to a disallowances at the time of tax audit, because see day to day routine में client का books every 6 month क्या quarterly तो हम audit नहीं कर रहे, So it is very difficult for them as well to analyze with respect to international transaction payments. So lots of clients are making payment of fees for technical services और हम लोग उनका स्ट्रेट अवे फॉर्म 15 CACB भर देते हैं. हमको मालूम है कि एक जनरल प्रैक्टिस है कि ट्रीटी में जाएंगे कोई टैक्स नहीं है एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो ऐसा नहीं है. वी नीड टू हैव द डॉक्यूमेंट इन प्लेस बिफोर फाइलिंग फॉर्म 15 CACB बिकॉज एट अ टाइम मेरे को बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं कि ये फॉरेन का बिल आ गया, इस पे तो टीडीएस नहीं कटेगा. स्टैंडर्ड प्रैक्टिस है, क्लाइंट ने पहले से फॉर्म 15 CACB भर रहा है, ये साल भी मैंने भर दिया विदाउट एनी डॉक्यूमेंट इन प्लेस. It is not advisable because whenever you are filing a 15 CB certificate, chartered accountant certificate, then onus is on us to prove that how you have arrived the, say for example 10%, 15% or no tax. So at a time it onus is on us to prove the documentation and all. So to avoid the nitty-gritty of department and all those things, it is advisable to prepare the document, consult टीडीएस आएगा नहीं आएगा, 15 CACB दोनों भरना है, सीए भरना है कि क्या. अगेन पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेस रहेगा तो डिसअलावेंसेस है. अगेन इन सेक्शन 40A2 there is a condition that say for example if you are paying to a relative or if you are giving a, say for example you are paying a rent, interest, salary to a relative, it should be within a market rate and it should be to a person who can contribute. Either you need to show in such a way that he is a contributing to our business. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हो कि you can show a salary to everyone in the family, but at a time we need to make sure that how I will show that he has contributed to my business activity. और ऐसे पर्सन को सैलरी मत दिखा देना जो कि कोई बिजनेस से कनेक्टेड ही नहीं है, 85-90 इयर्स का पर्सन है एंड यू आर शोइंग अ सैलरी ऑफ 15 lakh 20 lakh whatever is the amount. So and again it should be reasonable amount which that person can get in the market or normal practice. So again department at a time can evaluate this 40A2 revenue expenses paid to a specified person in excess of market value of goods or services whatever. So it should be a reasonable amount which he can get in the market. Again cash payment बहुत important criteria है. During the audit हम लोग कैश में खर्चा कैश विड्रॉ करके रखा है एसएससी ने, हम लोग बहुत सारा कैश में खर्चा तो बुक कर देते हैं. With the introduction of audit trail in the private limited companies and again with respect to other than see private limited company में तो बहुत ध्यान रखना है ऑडिट में because audit trail feature active है कि नहीं एक्टिव है, ऑडिटर हैज टू कमेंट इन हिज ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. तो आपका ऑडिट ट्रेल फीचर एक्टिव है और आपने क्लाइंट ने कैश इन हैंड दिख रहा है और आपने ईयर एंड में सब एक ही खर्चा मार दिया, इट कैन बी क्वेश्चन बिकॉज ऑडिटर ओनली हैज टू कमेंट कि वेदर ऑडिट ट्रेल इज मेंटेन्ड और नॉट. आपने ईयर एंड में ही एक साथ में सबका जो हम लोग एट अ टाइम हम लोग नहीं एमएसएमई इंडस्ट्री बहुत सारे क्लाइंट करते हैं कि दे यूज टू पास द एंट्री एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर और दे विड्रॉ द कैश, एंट्री बाद में मारते हैं. वी नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट जो भी एंट्री रहेगा 10,000 लिमिट के अंदर होना चाहिए बिकॉज एट अ टाइम इफ यू गिव अ कैश बुक टू द डिपार्टमेंट कैन एनालाइज दैट एंड दे हैव एनालाइज्ड. हमने एक केस में प्रैक्टिकली उसको कैश बुक दिया था, हमने जितना हो सके बराबर करके दिया. देन आल्सो फ्रॉम 300 से 400 पेज के बुक कैश बुक में से भी उसने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया कि एक पेमेंट 10,000 के ऊपर था क्लाइंट का. सो इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट कि उन लोग को इतना समझता नहीं है and all those things. The times have gone. They have also used and adopted the technologies and all those things. So we need to educate to the client. Plus 10,000 का जो लिमिट है. Again cash received ठीक है. Employer contribution to unapproved gratuity fund, again it will be a disallowed unapproved gratuity fund रहेगा. It is applicable to a company with a sizable turnover and gratuity applicable होना चाहिए. Then in that case employer contribution to NPS is in excess of 10%. Again employee contribution to PF ESIC, again if that is not paid before the due date of PF ESIC, there are two types of contribution. One is employer employee. Employer का you can pay by the deadline of 30th September or whatever is the due date. That means पीएफ ईएसआईसी एक्ट में जो ड्यू डेट है आपने उसके बाद में भी पे किया, एम्प्लॉयर का कंट्रीब्यूशन सर्टेनली इट विल बी अलाउड, बट फॉर एम्प्लॉइज कंट्रीब्यूशन इट शुड बी पेड ऑन और बिफोर द ड्यू डेट विच इज देयर इन पीएफ ईएसआईसी एक्ट, जो 15 तारीख वाला ड्यू डेट है वहां तक ही. अदरवाइज एज एन ऑडिटर आई हैव टू डिसअलाउ. अगर मैंने ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में तो आप डेट डालोगे इट विल ऑटोमेटिकली कैप्चर द डिसअलाउंसेस, बट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिटर्न ऑफ इनकम you have to disallow, otherwise CPC will manually add that amount and make the adjustment in your return of income. So at a time we need to educate to the client that employees का contribution है वो time पे ही पे होना चाहिए, even though there are technical glitch, whatever can happen on the 15 site नहीं चल रहा है, बैंक का issue है and all those things, but department will not understand or even CPC will not understand this thing. Again you have to go to the judicial proceedings कि आप CIT अपील फाइल करो, ITAT में जाओ and all those things. So वो हमें बहुत इम्पोर्टेंटली चेक करना है कि कंट्रीब्यूशन टाइम पे हो रहा है कि नहीं. And there are various, see with respect to deductions we are aware that normal depreciation है section 32, depreciation we are aware deduction मिलता है. additional depreciation भी at a time client ने कुछ नया मशीनरी वगैरह परचेज किया, you can evaluate the criteria for additional depreciation as well, जो कि हम बहुत कम client में देखते हैं. during the audit आप वो भी evaluate कर सकते हो. again section 80 JJAA एडिशनल एम्प्लॉय हायर किए उनका भी बेनिफिट मिलता है. 3 बहुत कम यूज होता है बट सर्टेनली इट वुड बी अ वैल्यू एडिशन टू आवर क्लाइंट्स. वी आर टेकिंग दैट बेनिफिट. अगेन इट कैन बी इवैल्यूएटेड इन अ इंडस्ट्री वेयर लेबर टर्नओवर इज मोर एंड अगेन देयर शुड बी एन एडिशन टू द एम्प्लॉयज. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए डिक्रीज है, एडिशन टू द एम्प्लॉय ओवर एंड अबाउट जो भी अमाउंट पे किया हुआ है उनको, उसके अलावा भी आपको डिडक्शन मिल सकता है. So certainly for expenses तो बहुत सारा है ऐसा we can evaluate, but we have tried कि जो हम लोग एटलीस्ट हमसे देखना रह जाता है कि 10,000 वाला PF ESIC वाला. and again this year MSME payment will be a very important criteria for us because during the audit we need to evaluate whether that entity is registered under MSME or not, whether payment has been made within the due date or not. So before starting the audit, I would suggest we need to make them client educate that कि आपका जो भी creditors का payment दिख रहा है, we required a schedule of payment made. Otherwise, I don't know, it would be very difficult for us to go and evaluate in a future years. क्या we are doing an audit of 23-24. हम 24-25 के डेटा में कितना देखेंगे? It would be very difficult. Again, whether that entity is covered in MSME or not, how we will identify? Because I guess there is a separate compliance in ROC as well, MSME का. But entirely it is all depend upon unaudited. आप यहाँ पे audit कर रहे हो, onus is again us on the auditor. Auditor has to report the disallowances in 3CA 3CD, and again that will be linked to your computation of income. So all the person who are in statutory audit, tax audit, it is a bang on point, and again it is the first year of applicability. It would be a very difficult for us to identify. और कुछ wrong reporting हो गया तो onus is on us. So better है client को अभी से ही list भेज दो कौन से MSME में है नहीं है. Take a declaration, include it in MRL, workings वगैरह ले लो. Because see, we can certainly check, but again it will be on test check basis only. आप entire data किसी का check करना, it would be very difficult for us. So initial से ही हमने उनको aware कर दिया this is what we want. They are, उनको भी time लगेगा, they need to prepare and all. At the end of the day आप सितंबर में जाके उनको बोलोगे कि ये चाहिए, it would be very difficult. So from an audit point of view, reporting बहुत increase हो गया है. We need to have a working for each and every disallowances and other reporting requirements, because again clause 44 वगैरह बोलने के लिए बहुत कुछ है, but जो main point है वो हमें ध्यान रखना है. For audit I would suggest कि let's start the drive of sending to the templates to the client, taking a declaration from them whether they are in MSME or not, because for larger entity client see क्लाइंट के एंड से तो बोलेगा सबको पेमेंट हो गया है, कि उनको भी एट अ टाइम मालूम नहीं होता है कि वो एमएसएमई में है नहीं है, बहुत सारे क्लाइंट्स को तो वी नीड टू एजुकेट, सेंड देम अ डिक्लेरेशन जो उन्होंने बना के दिया है बिफोर ऑडिट, एक बार वो भी इवेलुएट कर लो बराबर है कि नहीं, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे it responsibility is on the auditor, and in peer review it is you guys, or it is the we have to prove that whatever stand we have taken, what are our working papers on which we have kept a reliance and made the disallowances, because at a time current year में कुछ disallow किया, next year में allow करोगे, chain of working होना चाहिए, otherwise it would be very difficult. That's it from my side. If you have any questions,